DaMichael Cole covers the Grizzlies, beat writer for the Memphis Commercial Appeal. He joins us now. Update us on anything if you can, DaMichael. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Dan. But you pretty much just stated some of the latest there. I think the main question that people have had is this the NBA, kind of assisting the Grizzlies with this situation with John Morant stepping away from the team? From what we know, this is more, of the Grizzlies' decision to have John Morant step away from the team. And in regard to the NBA, there's still an ongoing investigation there.
Let's go back a year ago. That, we could root for Memphis, and it felt like they were an underdog story. Certainly you were getting highlights from them and Ja every night, and, we were rooting for them and him. And then all of a sudden, I saw them change as if they had been the Golden State Warriors, like they were cocky. They hadn't won anything, and I don't know if you noticed a change in Ja Morant as well. Did this all just happen with Ja in the last year and nothing else attached to it?
Brighter lights, Dan. Just brighter lights. I mean, covering the Grizzlies over the past 2 seasons, from a personality perspective, from Ja and the team, this is who he's been. This is who the team been in terms of, playing with that, that flamboyant style, that confidence, all the alley-oops, all of the, the trash talking. They were trash talking everyone last season the same way that they are this season. But last season, they were the darlings, right? They were this up-and-coming team. Wow, they're not afraid of the Warriors. They're not afraid of this team. They're not afraid of Kevin Durant. But then this year, it's like, what have these guys done? Like, why are they talking? So it's kind of a different perspective of how people view the Grizzlies. But getting back to more in the case of Ja Morant, he kind of is a different type of person, Dan. He, in a way, with all the social media things that he does, he prides himself on being one of the few athletes. This is something he said. He prides himself on being one of the few athletes who will show you his real life. He doesn't hide the fact that he'll go out sometimes late at night, but guess what? He'll let you know that he's going to get up early that next morning, to get back in the gym and things like that. So this is no secret, to us on who he has been, but it's more of the, the outside antics and some of those things kind of accumulating to the point where now everyone's saying, Ja, you have to take a step back.
How did he get a gun in Denver? Why did he have a gun in Denver?
So from what we've heard, Dan, there's been no, confirmation on whether it was his gun, whether it was an actual, gun at all. So that is part of the NBA's ongoing investigation. From what I've been told, that's one of the things that, is being, heavily looked at according to, the NBA rules. The NBA rules prohibits, guns, in locker rooms, on team planes, and around team facilities. So if that is the case, there could be some heavy punishment coming along the lines. But again, from what we've heard up to this point, there is no indication on if it isn't, a gun.
Is this all just a coincidence that all this has happened with Ja or with his guys this past year? Like nothing else was happening off the court with Ja Morant prior to a run-in at the mall, playing pickup with a kid at his house, his boys pointing a laser light or whatever at the Pacers. I mean, this is new. All this stuff is just happening now.
It goes back to those brighter lights for him, right? I remember early on in his career, his first couple seasons, right? Ja Morant, it wasn't uncommon to see him show his face, around Memphis, and people would come tell me, hey, look, I saw Ja Morant at this place. I saw Ja Morant at that place. But he has a little bit of a different light on him now, Dan. And again, that's where we go back to, he's 23 years old. He has the weight, of the Grizzlies franchise on his shoulder. He is arguably, the biggest athlete to come through, the city of Memphis up to this point. And he's one of the faces of the NBA. He's one of the faces of Nike. He is the face of Powerade, at this point. And then there's Hulu, Body Armor, so much more at stake here. So I think what we're seeing is there were a lot of warnings issued out. Dan, Ja, be careful. Ja, be careful. And now it's to the point he has so much more on the line. You're seeing, these situations where, things are being reported more on, intensively and things like that. So that's where we are right now. And it's simple. Yes, he's only 23 and, he's only been in the league 4 years, but Morant has a contract that could be worth more than $230 million next season.
Yeah.
He has a sneaker deal with Nike that will, a sneaker that debuts in April. So he has a lot to weigh here. And that's why all of this heat is coming right now, because he simply has too much to gain and a whole lot to lose.
What role does his dad play? He's always there, certainly at the home games.
Yeah. He's there on the road too. His dad is there everywhere. And
was his dad in Denver?
I'm not sure if his dad was in Denver, but I mean, I will say earlier this season, he was there in Denver. He was in LA when they went on the road earlier this season. And pretty much he goes to the majority of the away games. So the thing about his dad is they have a great relationship, as, most people can see. And he does challenge Ja. Ja will tell, anyone that his dad is his biggest critic. His dad is, his biggest hater sometimes. And what I've gathered, just from talking to T over the years, he challenges Ja in ways, but, sometimes people question, if T is, saying some of the right things to Ja. And, from the conversations I've had with the people around them, T does seem like he's, telling Ja, hey, you know what's at stake here right now. But, Morant, again, he does have, mind of his own. And sometimes, that seems to be the case when, he does things that kind of fall back into his hands sometimes.
You got a big story on your hands there. DaMichael, thank you for joining us.
Appreciate you, Dan. No problem.
That's DaMichael Cole. He covers the Grizzlies, a beat writer, Memphis Commercial Appeal. Well, that'd be an interesting story if Dad was in Denver with him.